Have you ever had one of those moments, a sudden gut feeling maybe, that makes you change plans at the last second? A split-second decision that, when you look back, changed. Well, everything. Now, just imagine that feeling not only saving your life, but also setting you on this unstoppable path to completely reshape an entire country's economy. Today, we're diving deep into exactly that kind of pivotal moment. We're looking at the amazing story of John D. Rockefeller, the Gilded Age titan, and a specific train journey he famously didn't take. It's this real twist of fate that, depending on how you look at it, was either just an incredible coincidence or maybe something much more profound, a sign of destiny, perhaps.
Yeah, and our mission here in this deep dive is really to unpack how that near miss, that near catastrophe didn't just, shake Rockefeller up. It actually solidified his own deeply held beliefs about, well, a guiding hand in his life. We'll explore how that absolute conviction then fueled him with this almost superhuman determination to build one of the most powerful corporations ever, Standard Oil. It fundamentally changed American business, even how people live day to day.
And all this fascinating stuff we're discussing, it's drawn from excerpts from John D. Rockefeller and The Train That Never Came History in 5 minutes or less. So let's get into it. This amazing story of ambition, faith, and a train ride that, for Rockefeller, literally changed his world. Okay, let's set the scene. Picture the 1860s. America is bustling, ambitious, maybe a bit chaotic. And right there is John D. Rockefeller. He's young, only 28, but already, wow, a real force. This wasn't just some guy with a good idea. He had this towering ambition, and he was already becoming one of the wealthiest men in the country. He wasn't just involved in the oil industry. He was actively, fundamentally revolutionizing it with his company, Standard Oil.
He really was. He had this incredible knack for seeing order, seeing potential, where most people just saw chaos, the boom and bust of early oil.
Yeah.
He was pioneering these super efficient cost-cutting methods, investing in new tech-like pipelines, which was pretty radical then. And he brought this rigorous, almost scientific approach to refining oil. It was unheard of.
So he was laying the groundwork for this huge empire through sheer brain power and, well, relentless work.
Exactly. But here's the thing that's absolutely crucial to grasp. To really understand Rockefeller, you have to look beyond just the business genius. Yes, he was shrewd, incredibly smart, and sometimes, famously ruthless in business, no doubt about that. But he was also a profoundly religious man, a devout Baptist. And he held this completely unshakable belief that his success, his drive, all that money he was making, it wasn't just him. He believed it was guided by, well, God's hand.
Wow, so faith and ambition were completely intertwined for him.
Completely. It wasn't just a Sunday thing. It was the lens he saw everything through, his whole life. And that's absolutely key for understanding what happened next.
Right, okay. So that brings us to this specific point in time. December 1867, Rockefeller and his business partner, they've planned a trip. Cleveland to New York. Standard stuff. Not a vacation. This was a critical business meeting. They had tickets. Everything was set for a routine train journey. You can almost picture it, right? The smoky Cleveland station, the steam engine, heading to the big city for important deals. But then something really strange happens. Something very un-Rockefeller, you could say. History isn't totally clear on why. Maybe it was, like the source says, an uneasy feeling in his gut. Yeah. Or maybe just coincidence. Who knows? But he hesitated right at the last minute. For a guy known for planning everything, this was really out of character. And then, boom, he cancels his trip. Just like that. Stays behind.
Doesn't get on the train. Watches it leave, partner on board, heading towards New York. And this decision, this hesitation, this is where the story takes that incredibly dramatic and frankly horrifying turn. Because not long after that train, the one he was supposed to be on, pulled out of the station, disaster struck. It was near Buffalo, New York. Something went terribly wrong as the train was moving along. It derailed, flew off a bridge, apparently. Several cars just plummeted down into a ravine. A terrible, terrible crash.
Oh my God, just horrific. Twisted metal, chaos, and the outcome, pretty grim, I imagine.
Extremely grim. Nearly 50 people died in that crash. 50 souls.
50. And Rockefeller, he was supposed to be number 51, potentially.
Exactly. Think about that.
Yeah.
When he got the news, that chilling realization, the sources say if he'd been on board, he almost certainly would have been among them.
Wow. Just imagine that feeling. Knowing you were that close, a hair's breadth away from, well, oblivion. It really hits home, doesn't it? How thin that line can be.
It must have been absolutely earth-shattering to learn about such a tragedy and to know you were meant to be part of it. It forces you to confront mortality head on.
Yeah, the source says he was profoundly shaken. I mean, how could you not be?
Right. But for Rockefeller, this wasn't just, phew, dodged a bullet. No, it fundamentally altered his perspective on life forever. He didn't see it as random chance. Not luck. Not a fluke. For him, this was crystal clear. Divine providence. Proof positive.
Proof? Proof of what, exactly, in his mind?
Proof that God had a plan for him, that his work, his mission on earth was not yet complete, that he had some greater purpose to fulfill. It wasn't just a nice idea. It was this core belief that then shaped everything. It even, gave a kind of moral justification in his eyes to his sometimes pretty ruthless business methods.
So he saw himself as, what, an instrument of God, to bring order to the oil industry.
Pretty much. Bringing order, efficiency, making energy available. He saw it as part of a divine plan. Which is, a fascinating way to view things. It really makes you think, doesn't it? When something incredibly lucky happens to you, how do you explain it? What does it mean to you? Is it chance or choices or something else?
That's a deep question. And the impact of this belief on Rockefeller, it was huge, wasn't it? This became a real turning point.
Absolutely. Not just a moment of reflection. It lit a fire under him, gave him this almost messianic sense of purpose. His resolve became unshakable, as the source puts it. He didn't just go back to work, he threw himself into it even more fervently.
Like the near-death experience filtered through his faith, just turbocharged his ambition.
Exactly. It became this unwavering conviction.
Oh.
He knew he was on a divinely appointed mission.
And the results, well, they speak for themselves, don't they? Standard Oil just exploded.
Monumental is the word. By the late 1800s, Standard Oil wasn't just big. It was the most powerful corporation in America, period. We're talking a control over 90%, maybe more, of all the oil refining and distribution in the entire country.
90%. It's hard to even wrap your head around that kind of dominance today.
It truly is. It basically meant he could dictate terms for the whole industry, from pulling oil out of the ground to selling it to the customer.
And the impact of Standard Oil, it went way beyond just making Rockefeller rich, right? It changed daily life.
Oh, massively. By creating these huge economies of scale, Standard Oil made oil and kerosene more affordable and widely available. And that was huge. It wasn't just about lamps anymore, that was big, lighting up homes across America. It was about fueling the first cars, powering factories, literally lighting up the nation. Standard Oil basically fueled America's second industrial revolution.
So how did he do it? What were these famous tactics?
Well, he was a master strategist. He pioneered tactics that really redefined business. We're talking vertical and horizontal integration.
Okay, break that down. Vertical and horizontal.
Right. So vertical integration means controlling every step of the process. He didn't just refine oil. He wanted to own the wells, the pipelines, the railroad tank cars, the barrel factories, even the stores selling the kerosene. Total control, top to bottom.
Got it. And horizontal.
Horizontal integration was about controlling one level of the industry, in his case, refining. He did that by aggressively buying out competitors, or sometimes driving them out of business if they wouldn't sell, ruthlessly consolidating the market under the Standard Oil umbrella.
So basically controlling the whole chain and eliminating the competition at the key stage.
Exactly. Revolutionary stuff. It gave him unbelievable control over supply, prices, everything. It basically wiped out competition and set a new standard, no pun intended, for how big business worked.
But super controversial too, I bet. People must have pushed back against that kind of monopoly power.
Oh, definitely. Immensely efficient, yes. But it sparked huge public debate about fairness, corporate power, the whole Gilded Age anxiety about monopolies. Yet, for Rockefeller, remember, these weren't just business tactics. In his mind, they were necessary steps, maybe even divinely sanctioned, to bring order and cheap energy to America.
And that massive power, that monopoly, eventually it got too big even for the government to ignore.
Precisely. It all came to a head in 1911. Years of public anger and legal fights led to the Supreme Court. In a landmark decision, they ruled that Standard Oil violated the Sherman Antitrust Act, new laws designed to break up monopolies and promote competition.
So they broke it up, just like that.
They did. Split it into over 30 separate companies. It was a huge moment, signaling a real shift in how the government viewed its role in regulating the economy.
And get this, some of those companies are still around today as massive corporations we all know.
That's right. Think ExxonMobil, Chevron, Marathon, even parts of BP. Their roots go right back to that Standard Oil breakup.
Wow, the ripple effects are still here.
Absolutely. But through all of that, the rise, the criticism, the breakup, what never changed for Rockefeller was that core belief. He never wavered, the source says, in his conviction that his wealth, his power, it was all divinely ordained.
And the train accident was key to that.
It cemented it. That survival story reinforced his belief that he was meant to shape history, not just as a tycoon, but later as a massive philanthropist too, He saw his wealth as something to be used for a higher purpose, to give back.
He actually talked about the accident often, didn't he? As this defining moment.
He did. He genuinely believed his life was spared for a reason. It was a narrative he lived by, a reminder of this divine mandate he felt he had.
And that conviction lasted his whole life.
Right up until his death in 1937. He remained totally steadfast in his faith and his philanthropy, which was groundbreaking in its scale, by the way, and in that belief that his success wasn't just his own doing. It was part of a bigger design.
So, looking back, whether you call it fate, divine intervention, incredible luck, or just a gut feeling, Rockefeller not getting on that train, it undeniably changed history. Not just for him, but for America, for the whole industrial world.
Yeah, ultimately, his story really highlights this incredibly powerful link he forged between his faith, that brush with death on the railway, and the absolutely colossal success he achieved. It locked in his belief that his life, controversies and all, was guided by this undeniable higher purpose. He wasn't just building a company. He felt he was fulfilling a destiny.
It really makes you pause and think, doesn't it? If one decision, seemingly random, a weird feeling, a sudden change of heart can echo through history like that, what about the small choices in our own lives? Those little nudges, those moments of hesitation or sudden impulse, could they be shaping futures we can't even see? Maybe fulfilling some purpose we don't even know about, for us or for the world?
It definitely invites you to consider that interplay, chance, choice, conviction, how they weave together in your own journey. Maybe there's more going on in those gut feelings than we usually give credit for.